So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining and welcome you all in our course data analysis using R programming. And today we are on the session number 7 and we are going to discuss on the concept of data structure. Okay, so let me explain what we have discussed in our previous classes so that everyone will be on the same page. Okay, so in our previous class we have discussed about data types, and in the first, or maybe I can say the previous to previous class, we have discussed about the R as a calculator, and I saw you that how you can use the programming language platform just to use as a calculator. And after that I had just let you know about how to define a variable and what are the naming convention you need to follow. And in our previous class we discussed about the data types, and we saw there is a multiple types of data we are handling in our real world situations, like sometimes you are handling with numeric data, sometimes you are dealing with character data, or also you are dealing with logical yes or no type of data, maybe binary data. Okay, sometimes you are dealing with complex data as well. Okay, so there are multiple types of data you are dealing with. Now in today's class I'll discuss about a data structure. So what basically data structure is, let me explain you a little bit. Okay, so like in our form. Okay, so for example, if you are doing a survey, okay, let's suppose if you are doing a survey, you are collecting the data. Okay, so let's suppose you are collecting the data of 100 people, right? So at the same time 100 records are with you. Now you need to store those record into the electronic form. Okay, maybe you are recording that data into the Excel sheet, maybe you are recording that data into the some other SQL other databases like SQL. Okay, maybe on the Amazon web server. Okay, any place you will store your data. Okay, now how you will store your data, that the part is comes under the arena of data structure. Okay, so like for example, suppose if you are capturing the age of our class people, like for example here we are having total eight people, and if I ask you, tell me your age to everyone. Okay, everyone will tell me the age. Right. So if I will store that data in some way, okay. So how I am storing that data into our programming environment, that is called as data structure. Okay. It means that if I am telling you a very short definition, so basically data structure that holds the complex data types. Okay. Like for example, if I am collecting the data of numeric from you guys, like just to tell me about age. Okay, so you will tell me age and I will store this at a some variable. Okay, so how I am storing that part is basically called as data structure. So in our programming we are dealing with multiple types of data structure, depend on the need, depend on the requirement, we will use one by one. Okay, so let me start discussing about what are the different types of operation we can perform into the data structure level. Okay, so firstly the very first operation we will perform, data structure. Okay, so the very first operation we are always performing is called as creation. Okay, so whatever the data I wanted to collect. Okay, so like for example, you collect the age of 100 people and I wanted to store that particular age in a data. Okay, so this age where it will be stored, that will be means I will create some space for that to just store that particular age. So that space will be called as create space. Okay, so this space I will create. So the first step of our data structure is just to create that particular data structure. Okay, once you able to create the data structure, then you will start inserting the values into it. Okay, so like for example, you have a bucket. Okay, you have a bucket and you wanted to collect the balls. Okay, which is kind of spread here and there. You will collect one ball and put into the this bucket. Okay, again you will put a ball from the ground and you will put into the bucket. Similarly, you will just create a bucket. Okay, under the first step you will create a bucket. Okay, that bucket will be of different types. Okay, and after that, after creating this particular bucket, you will start inserting the balls into this. Okay, similarly, after creating the data structure, first data structure, you will start inserting the values into it. Okay, so now if you will insert your values, sometimes maybe it happen that you insert a wrong value. Okay, maybe someone tell that age is 52 and wrongly you enter 25. Okay, so there should be a facility that you can update that particular part. So another operation can be performed into this particular data structure is called as update operation. Right, now suppose if you store that particular data at a some place, okay, now how you will navigate into this particular data. Navigation means how you will extract the data for performing any operation. Let's suppose I wanted to perform or you can say I wanted to calculate the mean age or standard deviation of the age, okay, or maybe the mean height or standard deviation of the height, okay. So for that thing I should to have those values first, then only I can able to perform the operation into it, okay. So this operation is called as navigation, okay. Navigation or you can say extraction, right. So I will extract or you can say navigate through the particular data structure, right. And the last operation we will perform once everything will be done, our analysis will be completed, I will delete all those data points, okay, so that our space will be cleaned, okay. So these are the five major operations we are performing into the data structure level, okay. So now coming to what are the different types of data structure, now you saw that what are the different operations. So each and every operation I will show you on one by one data structure level, okay. So in R we are dealing with multiple types of data structure, okay. So types of data structure, okay. Types of data structure, the first data structure we are dealing with which is called as vector, okay. The second data structure we will deal with is called as matrix, okay, matrix. And the third data structure we will deal is called as array. And the fourth data structure we will deal is called as data dot frame, okay. Data frame, okay. And the fifth will be called as list, okay. So majorly we will deal with the five types of data structure, okay. So data structure is basically the space where we will store our data in some specific format, okay. So in terms of that, the first data structure we will start learning today which is called as vector, okay. So what is vector, okay, let me introduce you about the vector. So firstly, let me tell you about like how you will fill this particular vector, okay. Let's suppose you ask a question, the similar question to 100 people, okay. It's like for example, tell me about your height, okay, your height. So people will tell that I'll my height is 5 feet 5 inch, okay. Someone will tell 6 feet 2 inch, okay. Someone will tell 5 feet 9 inch, someone will tell 6 feet 3 inch, okay. So in that way every people will tell to you, okay. Now you need to capture this data and store this into some place so that you can perform some general operation into this particular data, okay. So since this data are coming of similar type, okay, remember I'm telling you, like if you are collecting the data of a similar type, like for example you are asking the height of each and every people, so in this particular variable you are storing the data of height only, okay. It means that the vector is a data set, vector is a data structure which is storing the value of similar type, okay, similar type, right. So this is the important condition you need to remember, that vector is a data structure, over there we are storing the data, we are storing the values of similar type, okay. Now now I understand about the definition part of vector. Now since vector is a data structure, so on a data structure level we will perform how many operation, five operation. Firstly let me tell you how you will create the vector. After that I will tell you how to insert the values into the vector. After that I will perform some update into this particular vector, and after that we will perform navigation, and in last I will delete this particular vector, okay. So now let me perform a first operation into the vector part, which is creation, okay. So creation of the vector can be done into multiple ways, okay. So the first method of creating a vector is called as combine function, okay, combine function. So using this particular function you can create a vector, okay. How you will create, let me tell you, okay. So like for example, suppose if you are capturing the height of the people, okay, so you will create a variable name, okay. So as per our previous class I told you about the variable naming convention. You need to follow this particular naming convention part, okay, and put a very meaningful name of the variable, right. So here let's suppose I wanted to collect the height of the people, okay. So I just put the variable name as height. Now I will create a C vector, okay. So in this way I am able to create a data structure, okay. Now my data structure is created, right. Now how I will insert the values. Okay, so this is the second operation. Okay, that how I will insert the values. So in the first method, how I created, now I will insert the values into this as well. Okay, so how I will insert? So let's suppose height is there. Okay, in this I will just start putting the values like 5 feet 2 inch. Okay, 5 feet 3 inch, 5 feet 4 inch, maybe 6 feet 1 inch. Okay, maybe 6 feet 5 inch, maybe 5.9 inch. Okay, in that way height is. So now I just collected the data of how many people? 5 people's height is there, right? First people is of height this, second people of height this, third people will be of height this, and fourth people will be of height this, and fifth people will be of height this. Okay, so in that way I am able to create the vector, right? So what the important thing you are seeing into this particular vector is that all the data will be of similar kind. Okay, the type of the data is same, and the type is nothing but a numeric, and inside the numeric the second type is double type. Okay, let me see what type of data it is. HEI GST, right? You can see here it is of numeric data type, right? So this is the first method of just creating a vector, right? Now coming to the second way. Okay, the second way is that using the colon function. Okay, so this is the colon basically. So this type of vector, and now let me write it over here. This is called as a manual vector creation. Manual vector creation, right? So whatever the values you wanted to include into this particular vector, in this way you can create. Okay, this is fully user perspective. Whatever the value you wanted to insert, you can insert it in this way. Okay, now coming to the second way. This is little bit kind of a bounded. Okay, this is bounded, and this will always give the value in some range and some specific gap values. Okay, some specific gap values. So like for example, I wanted to create a variable a. Okay, and in this I wanted to store the values from 4 to 4 to 10. Okay, so it will create me a vector for me. Okay, and in this the value will be stored like 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. Okay, so if I will print the a over here, then you can see that in a variable these are the values is being stored. Okay, so one very common thing you are seeing into this thing is that all the values are coming by one value gap. Okay, 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 9 10 and 9 and 10, right? So here there is no concept of kind of updating the values. Okay, updating the value means manually entry the values. So here you can insert any value, but here you cannot insert the any value. So you need to give a first value, you need to give the last value, and between all the value will automatically be generated in this way. Okay, so this is not giving a full right to the user. Okay, but it is just saving our time when we need to generate or we need to store the value in a consecutive nature, right? For example, serial number, maybe ID number. Okay, student ID. Okay, in that at that time we are using this kind of method to generate the vector. Okay, now coming to the third type. Third method is called as sequence method. Okay, so sequence is a method. Okay, sequence basically is a function. Based on that we will create a vector, right? So how we will create the vector using the sequence function, let me tell you. Okay, so in the sequence function, so the sequence function is telling you about like for example from. Okay, from and to and by. Okay, so these three are the very important parameter this particular function is taking. Okay, and using this we will generate some data, right? For example, here we are having the first value and the last value. Between this all the value will be generated by one gap. Okay, 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. By using the sequence function, let's suppose I will use this in this way like seq, and from is equal to, let's say 4, let's say 4, and 2 is equal to, let's say 10. Okay, and by is equal to 1. Okay, so if I will write in this way, right? So the similar kind of vector will be generated 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But here I do not have any control. Okay, here I do not have any control, but I have a control in up to this level, right? So here I can control the sequence. Like for example, currently it is a by is equal to 1. So if I will put by is equal to 2, then all the value between this range to this range will be comes up with the difference of 2. Okay, it means that the 4, the next value will be 6, the next value will be 8, next value will be 10. Okay, let's see how it is doing. See here, it is giving me the values 4, 6, 8, and 10. Okay, so here at least we are having some control into this particular values, right? Now let's suppose the fourth method is by using the rep method. Okay, so rep function is basically replicating the values. Sometimes during the analysis activities, you may generate similar kind of values into the analysis. Okay, so at that time rep function will be used. So what it mean by rep function? Rep function is basically taking the values x and times. Okay, how many times you wanted to replicate this particular value. Okay, so how I will use it? Let me show you. So rep function I had applied. Let's suppose I wanted to repeat 1 and times is equal to 10 times. Okay, 10 times. It means that I wanted to repeat 1 10 times. Okay, let me see what is the output it is giving. See here, 1 is replicated 10 times, right? So these are the four method how you can create the vector. And the most important part you need to remember is that vector is a single data type values. Okay, it means that you can only store the values will be of similar type, right? For example, you can see here all the values will be of numeric type. In a second method, the first and second value you have given, and all the values in between this range is being generated, and all those values are of numeric type. Similarly, using the sequence function, I generated the values between 4 to 10 by 2. Okay, so whatever the values is being generating, so those all values are of numeric type. Similarly, the rep function I am utilizing. So rep function is generating the similar kind of values, and the number of times is 10. Okay, so 10 value will be generated, and all those 10 values will be of numeric type, right? So these are the few methods. Based on that you can generate the vector. Depend on the need. Okay, you will utilize the defined method. Okay, sometimes you will generate the method using C method, sometimes you will generate the sequence method, sometimes maybe you colon method, sometimes you may generate the sequence method, and some of the times maybe you will generate the values using the rep method. Okay, so up to this point, anyone have any question, any doubt? It is clear? If it is clear, then let me write a question. Okay, so generate a vector of integer. Okay, can anybody tell me the answer how you will generate the vector of integers? Or maybe write a line of code and paste into the maybe on the comment window. Maybe in next minute. No one is answering. Is it not clear or okay? No problem. Let me tell you. Okay, so how you can generate this particular vector? Okay, so you can generate the vector using the generate a vector of integer. Okay, so you need to generate the vector of integer. Then how you can generate it? Let's suppose int vec. Okay, I'll just put a name like in this way, and let me I will use the combine function. So like for example 23L, 46L, and 56L. Okay, if you remember your previous class, I tell you that how you will generate, how you will define the integer values. Okay, so in this way you can generate the integer values, right? So here I need to write capital L. Okay, and I if I will show you, right, for example the type of int val int vec. Okay, you can see here it is of integer type, right? So in this way you will generate the vector of integer values. Okay, so let's suppose if I ask you the second question, generate a vector of numeric vector. Okay, so if you wanted to generate a numeric vector, then put a name over here and just generate a vector by defining c, and whatever the values you wanted to keep, okay, just keep as it is. Okay, so this will be of numeric type. Okay, let me write it again, the type of over here, type of, and numVec, right? You can say it is of coming double type, right? So in this way you will generate the vector of numeric values, right? So this is the vector of integer values, this is the vector of double values. Okay, similarly I can generate the vector of character values as well. Okay, carvec, I just put a name over here, and let me generate the values like for example apple. Okay, and maybe banana, maybe grapes. Okay, so in this way I can generate the character vector. Let me write the type of over here. Okay, so that you will understand what are the type of this particular vector is. Okay, see here it is of type character, right? So in that way you can generate the vector, right? So the only important thing you can see over here is that in this particular vector, okay, in this particular data structure, all those values will be of similar data type. Okay, like all the value will be of integer type. Similarly, in this particular data structure you saw here, right? In this particular vector, all the value will be of double type. Similarly, in this particular data vector, all the values will be of character type. Okay, so this is the important thing you need to always remember, that if you are defining a vector, all the values you will include into this particular vector will be of similar type. Okay, now coming to the second part. Okay, now coming to the second part. Okay, so what is the second part? That how you will create a vector of logical things. Okay, logical vector, right? So logical vector, right? So as I told, in R programming, logical value will be treated as a true and false, right? So true and false. So let's suppose you will create a vector true, false, true, false. Okay, in that way you will place the values, and this vector will be of logical type. Okay, let me write it over here, type type of, and put the value over here. You saw here it is of logical vector, right? So in that way you will generate the logical vector, right? So you generated integer vector, you generated double type of vector, you generated character vector, and you generated the logical vector. Similarly you can generate the complex data vector as well. Okay, the vector which will include the complex values. Okay, that will be called as complex data structure, right? Now let me tell you what the problem if you will create a vector which will be of having different type of values. Okay, let me try at least once, and you will understand, and automatically it will clear in your mind why this particular vector will be as a single type of data values including. Okay, so like for example I will create a vector like a. Okay, and in this let me store the values like 1 comma 2, uh, 1 to 13 14 15, and let's suppose a. Okay, so can anybody tell me what it whether it will give me any error, or this program will run automatically? Anybody?
There, there will be an error.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, as per the rule this should give the error. Okay, yeah, maybe Ibrahim, go ahead.
Yes, there will be an error because we have a combination of numeric
Right,
and
exactly, right?
integer.
So ideally this should give the error, right? But it will not give. Okay. So why it will not give error? That there is a one reason behind that. So there is a one concept I will tell you. Okay. So firstly, you understand your understanding is very nice. I am happy with that you guys are listening very carefully. Okay. So vector is basically will be containing only the values will be of single data type. Okay. All the values will be of same data type. But here what the vector I am creating, this particular vector will include two types of values. Some of the values will be of numeric type and some of the values will be of character type. And this is against the rule of vector. Okay. So since this is against the rule of vector, so there is a one more concept is being applied into the vector which is called as flexibility flexibility of data type. Okay, So what it mean by flexibility of data type? So in our previous class, as I told you, alright, flexibility means some data can be converted into some other data. Okay, so like for example, integer can be converted into the numeric format, numeric can be converted into the character format, character can be converted into the logical format, logical can be converted into the complex format, right? So depend on the operator flexibility of the data types. Okay, it will automatically be converted. So the most flexible, okay, so the most flexible data type is most flexible data type is character. Okay, what is what is the meaning of most flexible? It means that if there just so many values are there, if any of the single value will be of character type, okay, it has the power that it will automatically convert all the value into the character format. Okay, so see here, so in this line most of you are telling that there may be error. Okay, for sure there should be error, but due to the concept of this data type flexibility, okay, due to the concept of data type flexibility, this will not throw any error, rather than it will convert all the numeric values into the character values. Okay, because character data type is a most flexible data type, and it automatically convert all the values into the character format, right? So let me run it, and you can see without error this is running. And if I will print it, okay, then see a magic, right? So you can see here all the numeric values is being converted into the character format, and all the value will be look like into the double code. That is called as flexibility of data type. Okay, you need to remember this concept in a very clear way. Okay, like if any kind of data values, okay, if any kind of data vector is having any kind of specific other type of data type of values, then according to the flexibility it will convert all the values into a specific type. Okay, so like for example, let me demonstrate another example as well. So let's suppose there is a vector I had created, vector of this 23L. Okay, it means that 23 integer I want, 21L and 20L. Okay, and another value I will create like maybe 11.1. Okay, so can anybody guess what will be the answer for this? Maybe, yeah, Ibrahim, go ahead, and maybe George, you can also go ahead. After that, please answer this question if anyone. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Anybody would like to answer what will be the
Okay,
answer?
I think George is speaking. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, yeah, please go ahead.
Can you? Okay, so uh, with the question you have asked, with the explanation you have given about flexibility of data, I am trying to believe that it might work. Though I see integers there, and then I'm seeing even the continuous data. The other day we gave it a name. What name? Yes, but I still believe that it might work. But I was going to ask a question earlier about why the numbers you gave earlier on 12, 13, 14, 15 were not in inverted comma, yet the system was able to recognize them as characters.
Yeah, yeah. Because because this is the way how R is being developed, right? Like for example, if because it is following the concept of flexibility, okay, because there is a concept is being established, otherwise this would be given error, right? So just because of just to save the program without error, they are introduce the concept of flexibility of the data types, right? So if you know the concept of flexibility of data type, then your program will not throw any error, your program will run in a very efficient way. This will not throw any error, but this will follow the concept of flexibility of the data type. Okay, so due to this concept, right, so automatically all the value will be converted into the character format, right? So this will not give any error. So that is the only rationale I can say for now. Okay, so this is the only rationale I can I can assume only, right? That or due to the concept of flexibility, okay, they are just converting all the values from numeric to character, and character is the most flexible data type, and it will convert all the value if it is found anywhere, and if there are similar kind of values are there, it will convert all those values will be of same data type as per the character values. Okay, so this is the only reason I am finding it out. But yeah, for sure, very good question. I'll try to do a research around that. Why this concept is being introduced? Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, so I was just asking about the answer of this particular question, what I had written over here, like 23L, 21L, 20L, and 11.1. Okay, so what will be the answer, or maybe you can tell me what will be the type of it, this will automatically give me. Okay, can anybody tell me? I just ran this particular part. Okay, B. Okay, now B I just ran. Tell me what will be the type of it will throw.
I think probably integer.
Okay. So let me write the flexibility concept again. Okay, from least to max, least to
Yes,
max.
too much.
So the most flexible data type will be of character type. Okay,
Okay.
character, and the second priority of is double, and then integer. Okay, then complex, then logical. Okay, so here are the five type of data types we have seen. Okay, so among those five types, okay, so character is the most flexible data type. After that, double is the second priority data type, and third is integer, fourth is complex, and fifth is logical. So like for example, in any of the data structure, any of the data structure, I can say, not only in vector only, right? So if some of the values will be of character type and some of the values will be of double type, okay, it will automatically convert, because in these two things, okay, in these two uh, data types, okay, which one is the most flexible? Character is the most flexible, so automatically it will convert all the values into the character format. Similarly here, if two values are there, okay, one is integer and one is double, then automatically both value will be converted into the double format, because double is more flexible than integer values. Similarly, if we are having integer and complex together, so it will convert into the integer values, because integer is having most flexibility than the complex type. Similarly, if we are having a logical values and complex values, so logical value will be logical values, and logical value will be converted into the complex values, okay, because complex values will be having higher priority than the logical values. So following this particular concept, okay, following this particular concept, so we can see here, we can see that some of the integer values are here and some of the values are double. So we are following into this particular thing. Here double is having high flexibility than integer. That is why it will convert all those values into the numeric format, or you can say the double format. Okay, let's see here. Right, some of the values were integer and some of the values will be of integer type. Oh, sorry, uh, double type. That is why it is by default giving me the output as double type. Okay, so you need to remember this particular priority concept, that which particular data type is having high data flexibility. Okay, so according to that, it will convert all those data will be of same type. Okay, so this is the way how you can create the vector. Okay, and you saw that the concept of flexibility of the data type. Yeah, please go ahead.
Please, I just want to grab it once and for all. Does it mean that if I should have a double data
Mm-hmm.
type,
Yeah.
and then I should have a character data type,
Yeah.
and I search for, or I could type of the variable, I'm going to be given a character instead of the double.
No, it will not
I,
give.
I, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you get it. What I mean is that I have seen that there is an integer and then there is a character. The first one, for instance, there was numbers and then there was a character at the end. But when we ran the type of, we saw from the output that it was a character data type,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then then the next one, the one that we have 23, The L and then the 23L, the 21L, the 20L, they are already integers. And then the 11.1 is a double. And
Hmm.
when we ran the type of B, we had the output as double. So I guess it is making me generalize that if I have integer and then a double data, once I run it, I'm going to get the data type as double. But when I have double and then a character, if I should run it, I'm going to get the data type as character. That is what I want to be sure of.
Okay. So here you see the list, right? So here the least to max I had created the list for. Okay. So it means that the character data values will be of higher priority. Okay. This is the maximum flexible data type, and this is the second maximum flexible data type, and this is the third maximum flexible data type. So it means that wherever you are having, let's suppose in this list we are having integer values and we are having the double values. Let's say I will create a character values over here. Okay, so among all three types of data, okay, among all three types of data, what we are having like integer, like double, like character. So in these three list of data types, which one is the most flexible? This whole vector will be converted into that particular type. So like for example, in this three set, the character is the most flexible data type. So it will convert all this particular vector into the character format. Okay, let me show you, and you can see it here only, right? So according to the flexibility priority, okay, which one is the most flexible? If this particular data type is existing into any of the data structure, it will convert the whole data structure into their own type. Okay, because it is having a higher priority of being converting all those values into its own values. Okay, so that is the reason here.
Uh,
Yeah, please go ahead.
thank you very much. I think I have also tried it on my the one I have opened, and I saw that what you have explained is the simplest way,
Okay,
depending on the magnitude of the flexibility.
okay,
The
perfect.
highest one always choose.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah,
very much.
yeah. Highest will convert in their own values. Okay, so like for example, character will convert all the values into the character format. Okay, okay, perfect. Now coming to the another method, like for example, you can create a vector by using the vector as well. Okay, so like for example, suppose you created a vector like a. Okay, and in this a vector you are having the values like 12, 13, and 14 and 15. Okay, in that way you are having some values. Okay, sorry. So you are having the values of a. Okay, a is having the value of 12, 13, and 14 and 15. Let's suppose there is a v, also there is a vector. Okay, and in this b vector you are having the values like 23, 24, 25, and 26. Okay, let's say you are having these values. Now you can create a new vector of c, and in this particular vector, okay, in this particular vector, what you can keep, you can keep the values like a and b. Okay, a and b. So a is a vector and b is a vector, so automatically there will be a big vector will be created. Okay, and this c vector will be include the values of these values and these values, because a and b will be treated here as a element of this particular vector. Okay, let me run it and show you what will be the output. And let me run the c, and you can see output as 12, 12, 13, and 14 and 15. Okay, these are coming from the vector a, and 23, 24, 25, and 26 is coming from the vector b. Okay, so this is also a one way of creating a vector. Similarly, you can create a vector like for example, you will write a vector of like for example 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5, and comma you can pass another vector like 23, 24, 25, 26, and inside the comma maybe again you can create another vector, right? So in this way you can also kind of create the vector. Okay, so this will be of no issues, because here what we are doing, we are creating a vector by using the vector itself. Okay, so this is the vector, main vector is being creating, and inside the vector these are the elements, and this vector is also treated as an element of this particular vector, and it will just parse all the values into this particular vector. Okay, it will not be a no more a separate vector, but this will converted from separate vector to the combined vector and store the values into the vector. Okay, so this is also one way of creating a vector. Okay, you need to remember this part. Now using the sequence method, as you saw, you can create any kind of vector. Okay, so like let me tell you again this part, and after that I will move from this concept to another concept. So there's a sequence. Okay, from the sequence, let's suppose from maybe I will apply 1, and 2 is equal to maybe 10. Okay, and by is equal to maybe 0.01. Okay, let me generate this. Okay, So if I will generate it, then you can see here all the value separated by this particular values like 1, 1.01, 1.02, all the values between 1.11 to 10 by 0.01 is generated over here, right? So whatever the by you will use here, okay, it will generate all the values in this way. Similarly, okay, so maybe you can apply like length dot out. Okay, so from 2 is equal to 3, length dot out. Okay, so yeah, so you can see here. So if you wanted to generate the values between 2 to 3, okay, and in between this range you wanted to generate 10 values, okay, so you need to specify from and to, and length dot out is equal to 10, right? So it will generate automatically 10 values between this particular range. No need to specify the by value over here, right? So now a common syntax of sequence function is that from the starting point to the last point, by the middle point, that how what the difference you wanted to separate for, and length dot out will include all the values separated by this particular just to generate create a sequence of this length, okay, by separating any values with any differences, right? So this is the method how you can generate the values, right? Now the second question come, okay, definitely the second part is just to insert, like you learned the concept of creation, you learned the concept of insertion. Now let me tell you about the update. But before telling you the update part, okay, the update operation, let me tell you about navigation and extraction part, okay. So once this part will be clear, then this part will automatically clear to you, okay. So how you will navigate into this particular vector, right? So for example, let me tell you a very nice or very connective example. Let's suppose there is a concept of post, okay. So let's suppose you are just sending a greeting card or maybe something to your friend, okay, or some letter is coming to your home, okay. How a postman is understanding that this is your location, okay, because into the postcard your address is being written, okay. So based on your address, based on the your location, someone is accessing your home and they are reaching to your home, okay. So the similar concept is being applied over here as well. So let's suppose if you create a data structure, or you can say a vector, so this vector will be stored into the memory, right? So if this particular thing is being stored into the memory, now your job is just to take the values out from this particular memory, okay. So how you will take out from the memory, okay. Firstly you need to understand where this value is being stored into the memory, right? So if you know the location of the memory, then only you can go there and you will pick the values from that particular location and utilize these values into your operation, right? So in R programming, no need to pass the address, okay, no need to pass the address, memory address. It is providing me a very good functionality which is called as navigation through indexing, okay, indexing. So indexing is basically kind of a method. Based on that we are just real time we can extract the values from the vector, or you can say from the memory, okay. So what is index? So index is nothing but a value starting from 1, okay, and up to the length of data structure, okay, length of data structure, right? So this these values is called as indexing, okay. So like for example, suppose if you are having a vector, okay, vector, let's suppose you are having a vector 23, 24, 25 and 26, okay. So there is a four values you are creating, okay. Since you created a four values, so these four values went into the memory and take a space, okay. So at some location this will be stored 23, this will store 24, this will be stored 25, and this will be stored 26. Now using the index functionalities, so index will be assigned, this value will be called as index number 1, Okay, this value will be stored into the index number 2. This value will be stored on the index number value 3, and this value will be stored on the index number 4. Okay, so if you know that this concept, okay, the indexing concept, like all the values, consecutive values are being stored, the values at the value from 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so you can extract the value in a very easy way. Okay, so like for example, suppose I wanted to extract the 26, so I will just pass their index. Okay, in the square bracket I will pass the value 4. Okay, so since at the location number 4, okay, index number 4, our 26 is stored. So if I will write it over here vec, and in the square bracket I will write 4. Okay, so in that way I will able to extract the 26 over here. Similarly, if I wanted to extract the second value, so I will pass the index number 2. Okay, so automatically it will give me 24. Similarly, if I wanted to extract the first value, okay, I will give the index as vector 1. Okay, vector index 1. Okay, it will give me the first value, it will give me 23. Similarly, if you wanted to extract the value number 3, okay, so at that time you will call vec, and in the square bracket you will write the index value 3, and you will get the value of 25, right? So in that way this method is called as navigation through indexing, right? So every time index is being created, and this index will be start from 1 and last up to the length of this particular vector. Okay, so like for example, it is started from index number 1, this is of index number 2, and this is the index number length of 4. Okay, clear? So every time whenever you wanted to navigate through the vector, you will use the indexing part. Okay, indexing can be of two types. Indexing can be of two types. One is called as positive indexing, and second is called as negative indexing, right? So what is the use of positive indexing, and what is the use of negative indexing is, okay, so positive indexing is used to get the values, okay, and negative indexing is used to delete the values. Okay, so these are the two work of the indexing, positive indexing and negative indexing is. So let's suppose I wanted to extract two value from this particular data structure 23 and 24. Okay, so I will use the, since I wanted to get the values. Okay, so I will use the positive indexing, because the positive indexing is helping me to get the values, right? How I will get this? So I will use the n- this particular method vec, and inside the double in the square bracket I will specify the index vector. Okay, I will specify the index vector, and index vector will be of 1 and 2. So what I am writing it, I am writing that index number 1 and index number 2 I wanted to extract the values. Okay, I want to get the values, so it will give me values, right? See here, 23 and 24 it is giving me. Now let's suppose I wanted to delete those values. Okay, I wanted to delete the 23 and 24, so I will use what? I will use the negative indexing over here, right? So the same thing I will write over here. Let's suppose I wanted to delete the values, so what I will do, I will write negative, and in these indexes, okay, these indexes I will write 1 and 2. So it will delete the indexes 1 and 2 from this particular vector. See here, automatically these two values are being deleted. Okay, these two values are being deleted. What are the rest values is there? 25 and 26. You can see here 25 and 26 is coming. So positive indexing is used to get the values, negative indexing is used to delete the values. Okay, so in that way you can navigate through the vector, right? So now let me write a question and tell me the answer, what the answer you are expecting. Let's suppose a vector I had given, okay, and 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27 and 28. Okay, now this is the question I have. Okay, now give me the sum of position number 1 and index number 2. Okay, I wanted to do the sum of these two values. Okay, what I will do, what I should to do?
Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Can you just write, let's say, vec one is square brackets, then you introduce the addition sign, and you write vec two.
Yeah, very nice, perfect. Okay, So in this way you can do this. Okay, like vec1 and vec2. Okay, using the vec1, what you will do, you will just extract the position number first value 23, and using this particular thing, okay, I will extract the value 2. Now since 23 and 24 is there, so I will apply the addition operation over here, and in this way I can able to get the sum of these two values 23 and 24, right? So similarly, if I wanted to delete the, let's suppose I wanted to delete the this particular vector, okay, this particular value from this particular vector, so what I need to do again? The second question is, I wanted to delete 25 into this particular vector, so what I need to write?
You wanted to do a delete what?
Yeah, so what I need to write, I need to write like vec and minus, minus at which position it is, 25 is on the third position, right?
-3.
Yeah, minus 3, right? In this way I can see here automatically this particular vector, oh, minus 3, 2 3 4, 23 24, why it is there? Okay, so I forgot to run this part.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah, now you can see 25 is being deleted from this particular list. Okay, so in that way you can navigate through the vector, right? So suppose now, coming to the third operation, which is update operation. Now how I will perform the update operation? Let's suppose I have a vector, okay, I have a vector like this vector I had, okay, and I came to know that this value is wrongly entered, okay, this value is wrongly entered. Now this value is 52, not 25. So how I will change this particular value? Okay, so how I will change? I will firstly identify where this value is. Okay, so this value is on the location number 3. Yes, this value will be on the location number 3. Now on the location number 3, I will change the values from 25 to 52. Okay, if I will run it, then you can see automatically this particular vector is automatically updated. Okay, so where the value was 25, now the value is 52. Okay, now the value is 52. So in that way you will able to update. So what you can do, you can just identify the index position of this particular value, and calling by this particular index values using this particular vector in this way, and place the value, new value to this particular location. In this way you will able to update this particular vector, right? So now you saw here that how you can create a vector. Okay, firstly you understand the concept of vector. So vector is nothing but a single data type of values it can contain only. Okay, and its length is unlimited. Whatever the values you wanted to store, you can store it. Okay, but will be in a single dimensions. Okay, single dimension means there will be a only one row you can store, right? Similarly, now you can create a multiple types of data values, like for example vector of numeric, vector of double, vector of character, vector of complex. Whatever the type of vector you wanted to create, you can create it. Okay, now if you wanted to perform any operation into it, okay, or you can navigate through this, you will always go for the indexing. Indexing, you saw there will be of two types of indexing. One is called as positive indexing, another is called as negative indexing. Positive indexing is helping you out to get the values, and negative indexing is helping you out to delete the values. Okay, so how you can do the indexing? You can go with one by one indexing, or you can pass a index vector. Okay, so index vector is nothing but values will be start from 1 and going up to the length of this particular vector. So here, let's suppose I wanted to extract the two values, so I will pass the vector and index vector as 1 and 2. Okay, I wanted to delete the first two values, then I will pass the vector and I will pass the negative index of 1 and 2, and using this I will able to delete this particular vectors. Okay, vector values. Okay, so these are the things how we are able to perform some operation into it. Now coming to the last of this lecture. Okay, so how you will delete this particular vector, right? So firstly, let me tell you about two commands. One is ls command. Okay, another is called as objects command. Okay, another is called as objects command. So using these two commands, I can list out all the variable which is being created into this particular environment. Okay, you can delete one by one. Okay, so like for example, let's suppose I wanted to delete a, so I will pass over here rm and inside the bracket a. Okay, so rm, this will delete the this will delete the delete the a from this particular list. Okay, let me run it again, and you can see here age is no more. Okay, age, previously age was there, but as I delete rm, of A, then automatically RM A is being deleted. Now this is started from A's. Now I wanted to delete all those variables simultaneously. Okay, so what I need to do, I will write a command like rm list is equal to ls. Okay, using this particular command, okay, function, I will able to delete all those variable which is being created during this particular session. Okay, see here, automatically all those variable is created and cleaned, and now my environment is showing empty. Okay, so in this way, now let me run it again, ls command, and you can see it is showing me character 0. It means there is a no variable is being left into this particular environment. Okay, so this is the way how you can delete the things, right? So the five operation you saw here, the first is create operation, second is insert operation, third is update operation, fourth is extraction or navigation operation, and the fifth is delete operation. So this is all about vector. Okay, so again, vector will be of similar data type values it is including. Okay, and you can traverse into the vector using the index function. Okay, index thing, index is nothing but value which is starting from 1 to the length of vector. Okay, and using this particular index thing, we can navigate into the vector. Okay, so this is all about today's class. Okay, so for sure, if you have any question or any doubt, maybe you can discuss, otherwise we can close today's session. Any question from anyone? Okay,
I
so
don't think so.
yeah, thank you so much.
Hello,
Yeah,
Abby.
yeah, please, George. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you see, I was how you were able to create the vector of some data. I think some few minutes ago in columns. In fact, I tried following your steps in on my laptop, but I couldn't get that output. The one that you had a lot of numbers in columns and then in the rows. I think when you go up a bit, you might see that one. He had some double figures in different columns. I think about 10. The length was 10, and then the what was it? I don't know. Let me open my RLanguage. You had something like from vec that is into sequence, from then you had two, and then two you had three, and then the length dot out is equal to 10.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that particular one?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, perfect.
Uh-huh. And you were able to get some output, but unfortunately, I was not able to get it on my laptop. I was trying to follow. Sometimes I try to practice everything that you teach, but I was not able to see that get that output.
Okay, okay, no problem. Let me tell you
If
again.
you could, if you
Yeah. So,
okay.
like for example, what the command I taught you a few minutes back, I was just applying like from I one is equal to 1 and 2 is equal to 10 and by is equal to 1. Okay. So if I will run this particular program, so here I am giving the message that generate a sequence from 1 until to 10, and each value will be separated with one gap difference. Okay, so here we are specifying the gap. Okay, here we are specifying the step. Okay, how many steps it will move, right? Sometimes you are not sure that how many steps I wanted to move. Okay, I wanted to only 10 values. Okay, between this range. So how I can do this? I will apply the length dot out. Okay, so I will apply the length dot out and I will write it over here 10. It means that between this range, okay, 1 to 10, I need 10 values. Okay, so it will generate 10 values, because here 10 values will be of like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 9 and 10. Okay, that is why it is giving me similar kind of output. But let's suppose if I wanted to 20 output 20 values between this particular range, so it will give me like 1 1.5 1.1.47 1.94. In that way it will kind of segregate all those values in such a way that between this range there will be a equidistance 10 value 20 values will be generated. So like for example, the gap between these values to these values and this values to this values will be exactly similar, this value to this value will be exactly similar, right? So each value will be comes with a separate separator is equal, separator equal separator, okay? But there is a length is fixed, like for example between this range I need only 20 values, so it will generate the 20 values, right? So for that reason we are applying length dot out function instead of by function, right? So it is not that much used for sure, but during the analysis activities sometimes this is a very important function. We are generating the data by using this particular function into our analysis activities. Okay.